we just heard Ralph Irvin give us the first rankings of the college football playoffs. And pretty much as I expected, I thought Clemson might be number 4, but you can clearly see, despite their one loss, now granted it was out without Trevor Lawrence, that they want to get Clemson in these playoffs and give them a shot. So they're number 3. Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State in that order. But that's football. And we know how disjointed the college football season has been. But college basketball could even be worse. College basketball could be way worse. And there was a good article today in Yahoo, and Pete Thamel wrote it, a former colleague of mine at the New York Times, and he just talked about how they're trying to travel, like, out of the conference. They're trying to play all these non-conference games, and obviously they want to play the NCAA tournament, and so far it's off to a horrible start. Here's a little something Thamel wrote in the column. Then I want to read you this quote by Rick Pitino, and then Rick
Pitino finally getting it right after all these years.
Well, and I got a thought about that, but Thamel says this: college basketball is crumbling in front of us because of greed, competing agendas, and a lack of leadership. By foolishly deciding to play non-conference games, the sport is now risking what it really needs in the long term: a way to play conference games, and most importantly, the NCAA tournament. Now, here's what Rick Pitino said. Of course, he's at Iona now. Now, he said this: it's going to be a nightmare. They're just trying to rush it to get to March, and it's not worth risking everyone's health. They see the virus spreading like wildfire. Countries are shutting down, and we're trying to open up while it's spreading. It's going to be another season where we're not going to play the postseason. It's going to be a disaster. Now, before you praise Pitino, I'm just going to say this. I'm not sure he'd be saying the same thing if he were still at Louisville or Kentucky. He's at Iona. He's off the radar. He's off the grid. And,
no, but
nobody's going to miss Iona.
Yeah, but the only difference is this is his chance back in after being embarrassingly dumped out of major college basketball, Chris. So if anybody who wants to get
major college basketball,
well, but to get back in it, he got a job at Iona when most people didn't think he'd get another job. I mean, there was prostitution going on in the basketball dorm on campus. I mean, how many guys? Supposedly he had sex in a restaurant. I don't know.
That was way before with a woman that wasn't his wife. That was way before the scandal at the
I'm just saying. But all the stuff.
Okay, so you don't think it's self-serving?
No, I don't.
I'm not saying what he's saying isn't right, but I think his motivation's a little.
Yeah, I don't think so. I really don't, because he's motivated to get back in, and that's why he's doing. I'm sure he doesn't need the money, Chris. You know what I mean? He's trying
he wants back in.
And he's in the Hall of Fame already. He's in the Hall of Fame. He has all his money, so he wants to, get back so that he could get to a program and then put a nice bow that he had a redemption story. Do you know what I mean? Like for Rick Pitino.
It ain't going to happen at Iona.
No, but I'm just saying. But anyway, I think this is all about greed and this whole notion of we'll do whatever it takes to get us to March Madness. That's where we get the big pile of money from CBS and TNT. Right. That's what it's about. And the idea that these college kids, we saw what college football is, Chris. And why in the world are you traveling around to all these games and places with no fans? What sense does it make? Does it make any sense to you?
I said last week, I don't mind them playing. Obviously, you're going to have some more than bumps in the road. I mean, you're going to have some severe ditches and peaks and valleys. We saw Dabo Swinney go off. I think he's wrong for the way he went off on Florida State for canceling their game. I get it. They could have done it more than 3 hours in advance, but still, you have to understand in these times, it's going to be different. Things are going to be
It's fluid as we go.
Fluid. So I'm fine with them trying. And I'll be honest, I'm fine with college basketball trying. But it may get to a point, this is different than football. At least football is outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, college basketball is indoors. It's not going to be a bubble like the NBA was. So they may not be able to do it. I'm fine with them trying. I do think, as Thamel said in the article, they should scrap the non-conference games. Just try to play in conference so you're not traveling as far. And then if you can get to an NCAA tournament and they can do some sort of a bubble with that, like they're talking about, not an NBA bubble, but, something to that effect, then I think you try that. Look, I get it. Obviously, the NCAA is greed. But at the same time, there are a lot of people caught up in that who, would lose jobs, who really need their jobs. The kids do want to play. So I just think, like you said, it's fluid. And in 2 weeks, they might have to say, you know what, we can't do it. But I'm fine with them trying. But right now, it's looking like it's going to be very difficult to pull off. And they better, like I said, cut out the non-conference games. You're going to have to pare it down. Rob, we talked about it. Major League Baseball played basically a third of their games.
Right. If baseball can make from 162 to 60, why are you trying to have a full season? I don't get it.
If teams can only play 20 games instead of 30 or even 16 instead of 30, whatever it might be, so be it. But you're going to take somewhat of an L, right? Right.
You take the L.
You got to know that going in.
And, Chris, vaccines are on the way, and we get through this year, and then maybe we get through this year, 2021, and then next year everything is kind of back to normal. We got a vaccine that people feel comfortable with. You know what I mean? And at least, Chris, if you get something, there's something that can help you. And the people who have underlying issues and compromised immune systems, they have something, and it's a lot easier. The flu is always around, Chris. The flu ain't going nowhere, right? But there's a vaccine for it. We know how to treat it. We know how to deal with it. And there's a flu season, and we kind of protect ourselves and go on. So that can happen. It ain't going away, like COVID. Right. It's not going away.
I mean, all the indications are that it's about to get a little bit worse. Right. For the next month or maybe even a little bit longer. Look, Duke, Arizona, and Tennessee all canceled games that were scheduled for yesterday due to COVID. For I believe next Monday. A few of the A-list coaches that have tested positive. You got Jim Boeheim at Syracuse, Tom Izzo at Michigan State, Rick Barnes at Tennessee, Scott Drew at Baylor. Like, it's hitting everybody. And some more of these quotes, Rob, an anonymous conference official, at this point, I'm not sure why we're trying. I wonder if in like 10 to 14 days it will be shut down.
Remember,
go ahead.
When you talk about the lack of leadership, Chris, do you remember the last time college basketball got stopped? It got stopped in the halftime of a game. After the NBA had already pulled the plug the night before, somehow college basketball.
That the Big East?
Yeah, the Big East had a game. Yeah. And Chris, at halftime, they pulled the plug. We were like, what? You mean the NBA pulled the plug the night before and you were going to go on with college kids the next day?
No, you're right.
I mean, where is the leadership?
What it was about? It was about the money.
They wanted to get the tournament in. Oh, my God, the Big East, we sold tickets. What do we got TV, ESPN, whoever's going to broadcast the game. Right.
That's what they wanted. About. Yeah, and this is the NCAA is being exposed now. And
Big
again,
time.
I get it because there's good people. There are some definitely greedy people, but we know it, Rob. There's also a lot of, well-meaning people that this is their livelihood. They're working at the lower rungs of the NCAA.
I get all that, machine. Chris, and I respect that about people's jobs for real. But you can't play with people's health just because, we've all sacrificed. We've all suffered. And it's unfortunate. I have friends, who own restaurants, Chris. It's horrible, man. I know people, barbershops have been shut down all over the place, back and forth. My nephew's barbershop in New York. My barbershop in Detroit. You know what I mean? So people have been hurt by this.
Yep. No question. Now, the Ivy League, of course, canceled its season. They were the first to cancel football. They were also the first to cancel basketball. It was a week within the last 2 weeks. Do you think at this point, Rob, they should just cancel the basketball season or give it a couple more weeks to try?
I don't know. I mean, if they feel compelled to try, Chris, go ahead and try. I'm not going to sit here and say they don't want to try, but all the indications are bad. And now with the holiday too, and some kids going home, and I think the worst is yet to come. And did you see? Was that Tuesday? What day was that? This weekend or whatever with the travel, 1 million people flew, and they said it was the most people who flew, Chris, since March. That's how many people.
I saw something on the news about that. More people are flying, but
for Thanksgiving, so people are traveling. I thought people would just not, go it alone and just have whoever you've been with the family during this. You would just have a small Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We actually all got COVID tested.
You said just your mother-in-law is coming, right?
She not even gonna come.
She's not coming?
No, because she's obviously older,
right?
And she just she just wants
leery.
to, which I get. Yeah, I mean she's leery, and like I said, my father-in-law died of COVID.
Right. No.
Yeah, so she just wants to be extra careful, which we get. My parents, my brother was going to go to see them in Cleveland.
He's not going to go?
He's not going to do that now. And they wanted it. They were on to him like, don't come. It's not worth it.
Right.
So it's myself and our daughters and my wife, and all 4 of us just got tested. I just got tested a couple of days ago, and I don't have it. So
knock on wood. Thank God.
Yeah. So, but you're right. You got to be extra careful. Give them a couple more weeks, and if it just keeps spiking and getting worse, at the very least, you should just say, look, we're postponing until January or even until further notice. You know what I mean? Like, you may not have to just say it's off, but you're going to have to postpone it if things keep getting worse. And they got to do that for the health of these kids. So, and I'm Rob, I'm going to say this, and I love college football. When you and I were coming up, NFL's always been the NFL. It's been great. But college football has long been a rival of the NFL, right? I mean, it's huge. And it was even bigger probably when we were.
It just got oversaturated with games and bowl games. It used to be appointment watching.
Yes.
Because every game wasn't on, Chris, and there were big college football games you look forward to.
Yeah, no question about it. And I've still been into college football. Just, I've maintained that love for it. But I will be honest, Rob, this year with the NFL, and, NFL games are now on a little more often Thursday night, in addition to Monday and Sunday. Basketball was going for a while. Baseball was going for a while. And then with so many cancellations, I haven't been able to follow college football like I normally do. Because you don't know when a big game's coming on.
No.
It might have just got canceled,
The only way is if you're following just your favorite team, but college football as a whole, I agree. It's too disjointed. If you're an Ohio State fan, you know when your games are on. You know what I mean? And when you're watching. But I agree with you. If you're just like a national person watching different games, it's hard to keep track.
All right. Let's get to you guys. 877-99 on Fox.
All right, Al in the Inland Empire.
The IE.
The IE. Al, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up?
Hey, not too much. Guys, before we get started, I do want to say, Rob, let's activate those Wonder Twin powers real quick, man. Wonder Twin powers, activate. You remember that?
Yes, indeed. We love the Wonder Twins. Zan and Jaina. And what was their monkey's name? Their space monkey.
The space monkey. Man, bro, I can't even remember right.
You representing IE with this corniness?
Wonder Twin powers.
They gonna laugh you off the campus tomorrow.
Nah, Al.
The workplace, wherever you
You're my man, Al. What's up?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Where I'm really representing from is from. I was born in Detroit, raised in Tucson.
Wow.
So I've been meaning to run down the sporty cuts at some point. But anyway, look, I'm looking at it from more of a business standpoint. I got a finance degree and I run a business myself. And to be honest, man, the country, the way economics work in America is that they kind of keep track of numbers to determine, what's that breaking point at which, people not working sports leagues not making money, it's not so much about the leagues itself as it is about their obligations. I used to work in television, and you know how it is. But get their commercial on, then that's you got to pay that back to the advertisers. You know, you got to make those up.
No, make goods and paying people back.
No, and I'm glad this is a good perspective because we don't often get this perspective. So so you're saying you understand why they're trying to push it. Is he gone? It would have been good to keep him on. I think that's a good perspective.
But he made a good point, Al. Yeah. We appreciate that, Al. Thank you. How about Marty in Kentucky? You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Marty?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing great, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family.
Yes, I appreciate it. I'm happy to say that I am off quarantine as of today. Been on quarantine for 2 weeks.
Really? Oh, really? So did you have it, or you were
somebody
just
at work had it?
No, this is my third round of quarantine. I rode to work with someone that had it, and I rode 3 days with them. And it's my third time of having direct contact, and I don't know. I just haven't caught it yet.
Wow.
But I had to.
You in our prayers, man.
That's right.
Yeah, you actually stay on quarantine longer if you don't have it. When you have it and then you're over it, you get out of quarantine. When you're exposed, you stay on quarantine for a minimum of 2 weeks. But to get on the subject, I just kind of want to hit on the Rick Pitino thing, being as I'm in Pitino country.
Right.
There's no way that I feel that's sincere from Pitino.
Wow.
I think it's damage control on his image. It doesn't affect him now because he's not in a major D1 conference, and he wants to look like he cares, but he didn't care if his players got an STD at Louisville.
Oh, wow.
But now he cares.
I'm with you, though, Marty.
How do you know, Marty?
He had him, but I'm just saying, like,
he had
this
most
don't
of his
impact
kids.
Him.
Most of his kids were in penicillin 101. What are you talking about, Marty?
No,
you know what I'm talking about. You're the expert on strippers, Rob.
Exactly.
Why are you ripping off strippers with STDs? Stop it, Marty.
All right, who we got?
Unbelievable. All right, Mark in Sacramento, you're on the Odd Couple.
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey,
What's
Chris.
up, man?
Happy Thanksgiving, too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Hey, Chris, it was good to hear you express yourself on the virus because you and I I think we were trying to say this about 10 or 12 days ago, and we seem to be going a different direction. And to hear you speak on it today, this was the nightmare I was talking about that was coming in, not just at college football, but at everybody. So this is what I was saying, this spike and what we saw coming. And it was good to hear you talk about it because you expressed it pretty well. And you and Rob seem to kind of get on the same page on this issue because it is very serious. So it was good to hear you express yourself, man. It was.
No, well, thank you, man. I mean, look, yeah. Like I said, I'm with them giving it a try. Give it a try. But you got to be realistic. I get the economic situation. But if you just can't do it, if it's untenable, then you got to have the guts to just cancel it. I mean, like Rob said, we're all making sacrifices with this, and college is different than pro. Not just because the kids are getting paid in the pros or the guys are getting paid in the pros, but because, Rob, you can't bubble up as many college kids. There's so many teams, you know what I mean? Like you can in the pros. It's just impossible to do, and that makes it tougher to handle. So they just got to be realistic with this thing.
No doubt about it.